When I left Nepal last spring after the avalanche on Everest, it was incredibly hard. I was feeling really defeated. I was feeling like the logistics of trying to climb and the pressure of the dangers of climbing in this area and local workers supporting our climbing and, you know, being killed in the process of that, it was just incredibly overwhelming for me. But this, coming up into the Mustang, has been amazing. It's, you know, nobody talks about the avalanche up here. It's not part of what they're discussing, and it's sort of just this wild west of climbing, really. Mustang is a really remote region of Nepal, and where we're heading in Mustang is an even more remote region. It's all the way to the north and pretty far west, just on the border of Tibet. Right now, we are in Jomosom, which is about 180 kilometers to the northwest of Kathmandu, and it's my first time in this area of Nepal. This trip is a really amazing and interesting trip to me because there's a ton of unknowns. So we're setting out right now, just at the very beginning, to try to head into the very north part of Mustang and try to check out some unclimbed peaks that were just opened this fall for climbing. There's not a lot of information available about the peaks that we want to go and look at. So this is just full on going into the unknown, complete adventure. And this adventure has already started with a whole bunch of challenges logistically and delays. And so we intended to drive for probably about 10 hours today and get all the way to Lomanthang, which is kind of the last town before we go into our base camp. And we just heard that there's landslides. There's a couple different landslides in the area, and now cars can't pass. And so we may have to walk that whole way, which would take us 10 hours to drive, might take us 5 days to walk. So, you know, we're definitely sort of in the okay realm of this, where we just have to sort of roll with it, try to see what we can do, and try to see what we find when we get there. Right now we're walking to the border of Tibet with a bunch of horses carrying all of our stuff, like a bunch of local northern Nepal Upper Mustang guys going somewhere that nobody really knows where we're going. It's kind of crazy.
They don't seem too concerned about it either.
Not at all. Like, yeah, you guys are the ones going climbing? Yeah. Okay.
We'll get you there.
Yeah, sure. No problem. This expedition is really different from any expedition that I've ever been on before, mainly because there's so many unknowns and there's not really a good way to get information. And I'm a planner. I like to have a lot of information. I like to sort of know what I'm getting into and try to, you know, take all the advice I can from people who've been there before. And this is sort of strange because no one's been here before, and the information that we can get seems mixed and maybe not totally accurate. I mean, I just can't tell. I just really can't tell, like, if it's going to be glaciated on the summit or not. And I don't necessarily believe that this is perfectly mapped.
No.
So it's a ton of exploration. It's a completely different kind of adventure and climbing, but at the same time, I feel like, you know, when you're climbing, essentially, each step is unknown. You don't really know what you're going to find, even if you've been on that climbing route before. So I think the process of getting to the peaks is what's so different. I'm hoping that once we get into the climbing, you know, it's crampons and ice tools, and that's pretty familiar terrain for me.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Nice. Wonderful.
Wonderful. Wonderful peaks.